Hey, Tusks up, Utah Mammoth fans, and welcome into another Utah Mammoth Daily. My positivity and patience has paid off. I'm so happy that game against the Vegas Golden Knights happened. I'm so happy about how the entire team played, from goaltending to defense to attack. Just everything about the game was just nice, and I'm in a happy state today. So if you are too, hit that subscribe button. But let's first talk about Logan Cooley. Are you kidding me? The first 4-goal game in the NHL this season. He is tied with Macklin Celebrini and Connor Bedard for the most hat tricks in a season, with 2, one at home and one on the road for Cools. And then he was responsible for 4 goals, obviously, but then he also assisted in the 5th. So he was the offense in this game against the Golden Knights, and it was incredible to watch. Logan Cooley, they talked about it on the broadcast, but he was angry. He was I mean, if I could say it, he was pissed off about not scoring, about how he was letting the team and the fans down, and how he wanted to change it, and how he was pressing too much, and kind of like what I said yesterday. And so seeing the game come to him in this, and in some instances he just took the game, like in the empty netters, he just took it. It was like, no, this is mine and I'm scoring. This is my puck. You get to play with it for a little bit, but it's my puck. And just overall, the entire game, he was flying around the ice. The moment wasn't too big for him. He didn't allow the game a couple of nights earlier reflect anything on his performance on that game that night. The entire team just wasn't playing scared. They were playing forward thinking hockey. They were quick thinking for most of it. They weren't turning the puck over unless we look at that second period. But let's ignore the second period. If I've said this in a couple of shows, but if Utah didn't have to play second periods, they'd be undefeated. Really, I mean, just how it looks. And I don't understand how it happens every game. I understand it's the NHL. There are other professionals. The other team is paid to win games too. But you hear it all the time in the third period, like the second period to third period intermission. And when they interview the players, it's like, yeah, we expected a push. Well, great. You expected a push. Why didn't you push back? You know what I mean? So that's really frustrating to watch, and something to keep tabs on is that second period malaise that happens in every game. But just circling back to Logan Cooley, we're in good hands here moving forward. And speaking of being in good hands, Dylan Guenther, he's back too. He's scored in the past couple of games. In this game, he had a goal and an assist, and he was not as tentative as he has been, and he also wasn't pressing. So that was something else. Like the young guys were pressing to get things done because they know the pressure that's on them. They know they have these big contracts. They know the fans look to them to score, to be those guys. And when it's not happening, they press and they try too hard. They overextend, or they try to get out onto the break early before they actually know the team has the puck, and so it just throws everything off. But seeing Dylan Guenther and Logan Cooley against the Golden Knights the second time, not the first time, the second time, was just a revelation. And I hope that it reminds everybody of where the team is headed still. These guys are like 21, 22 years old. There's a lot of hockey left to be played for them. And I am so excited that they chose to be in Utah for it, because with them, Clayton Keller, Sergachev, I mean, that's the Simashev, and then not to mention the guys in the pipeline that will also be rather good. The sky is the limit for this team, and I'm just happy right now. No matter what happens tonight against the Canadiens, I'm just happy because the team showed what it's capable of. And I am in agreement with Dom Moore on the Mammoth broadcast. I think the Golden Knights are the second to third best team in the NHL. So them playing like that was just crazy. And I do think the kids are back. I think the new line combinations that Trigny has trotted out there are working now. And then juggling Hayton and Cooley between the top and second line, I think works just fine depending on what the game needs. and they're both fitting in just incredibly well. Obviously, what I talked about yesterday with Barrett Hayton still holds. I love his game. I love that he just throws his body on the line for his teammates. I just think he's miscast here in Utah, and that might play into him getting traded or just not signing back with Utah. So just good vibes right now. Really good vibes. I'm not going to get too high, just like I didn't get too low on the team, but I want everybody to enjoy that win against a Stanley Cup contending team. And if we look at the best team in the NHL, the Colorado Avalanche, I mean, Utah has only lost to them by 1 goal so far this year. Like, they beat them in overtime at home. They lost to them on the road by 1 goal. And if it weren't for a freak Marty Necas goal, I mean, Utah probably would have beat them in regulation. One of, 2 teams to be able to do that. So this team can be incredibly good, but we've also seen how bad they can be. So, and that's just part of a young team. It's a roller coaster, and it looks like we're back on the up. So I hope that continues on. So bigger picture here, let's look at the playoff picture, playoff watch. Utah is 4th in the Central Division, the best division in hockey, and they hold the second wild card based off of goal differential. Vegas has the first wild card by 2 points. And so as we get closer and closer to the first mile marker here in the NHL season, Utah's in a playoff spot. I've said it before. You've probably heard it ad nauseum. But if a team holds a playoff spot by American Thanksgiving, odds are they're going to make the playoffs that year. Now, this year is really weird. There's not as many sellers this year. The teams that should be sellers are still hanging on for dear life to everything they've got. We'll have to see what happens once we hit mid-December, I'm thinking, is when teams will start to say, all right, just not our year. Let's trim some fat here. But until that happens, Utah is still in the playoff picture. They're still there, even after that horrid stretch of games where all the power rankings have Utah down into the high 20s or low 20s, or high teens. Utah's still there. And this team we know now, this team is streaky. So if this team gets on a hot streak at the right time, on the right part of the schedule, then they could go pretty far. So I don't know if you could tell, but I'm gushing. That game was so much fun. It was so much fun. I wish I could have been there. All right, and lastly, confidence. Has the confidence for the team returned? This was Vegas's 5th regulation loss of the season. Only 5th. You can count that on one hand. I've done it. See? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even I can do that. And the New York Rangers, it was only their 4th road loss on the season. The Rangers have been road warriors this year. So looking over all of that, I would say if the coaching staff and front office paints the picture right for this young team, their confidence can be sky high. And when this team plays with confidence, we saw it against Vegas, we saw it a little bit against New York, and then obviously in that win streak, this team can play with anybody. This team can beat anybody. I mean, for goodness sake, they beat the Avalanche. So I know that we've been through the ringer here a little bit with what the team went through in that losing streak. They have clawed out of it. They're on a 2-game winning streak now. They've gotten points in the majority of their games. Even during that losing streak, they were still booking points. I mean, it could be worse. It really could be worse. Just look at the Predators or the Flames or the Canucks or the Sabres. It could be worse. And this team is just fun to watch. They are. They're just fun. And Logan Cooley just bursting 22 miles an hour on that breakaway goal. Outskating Jack Eichel. Are you kidding me? Yeah. So this team's really fun to watch. I'm glad I'm along for the ride. I'm glad you are along for the ride. Keep those tusks up, and I will see you all tomorrow.